In today's lesson, we're going to work on finding percent finding the part number 2 using decimals. So in the last lesson, we learned how to use the percent proportion. Today, we're going to learn how to use some decimals. So we're just going to do some quick review here on decimals. Write these decimals as percents. We know that to take a percent to a decimal, we just have to move the decimal place 2 places to the left. And so 40% as a decimal is 0 and 4/10. 57, I take my decimal, move it 2 places to the left, and I get 0 and 57/100ths. And then 125%, I take my decimal, move it 2 places to the left, and I get 1 and 25/100ths. Some common mistakes are these single-digit percents when we've got 3% and 5%. Because we take this decimal, we move it 2 places to the left, so we have to add a 0 as a placeholder and get 0 and 3/100ths, not 0 and 3/10ths. That's a big mistake. So if you haven't already, try 5% really quickly right now. Don't make the common mistake of saying 0 and 5/10ths, but this one should be 0 and 5/100ths. Don't forget that 0 placeholder when you're doing this. So the decimal method says that we take the percent in decimal form, which is why we just did this quick review. Of means multiply, times the whole, and then is means equal, so equals the part. So percent of the whole equals the part. We can use our words of means multiply, is means equal to set this up. The biggest difference between this method and the other method is that in the percent proportion, we wrote our percent as a whole number over 100. In the decimal method, we have to change our percentage to be a decimal. So my first example, what is 56% of 200? What we don't know, is means equals. 56% as a decimal is 56/100ths. Of means multiply, 20. And so you can see how I can use my words here to help me set up an equation to easily solve now. What is, so I can put in any variable, A is 56% of means multiply 20. And so my part here, all I have to do is take 56/100ths times 20. And when I do that, I get my part equals 11 and 2/10ths. And that's my answer. So different people like different methods. I tend to like this method a little bit better because I don't think it's very difficult to change percent to a decimal, and then writing it out in words just seems like less work to me. Other people really like the percent proportion and choose to do it that way. So whatever makes most sense for you is okay with me. I don't care either way. So if you open it up, I'm going to start at the left here on some more examples. I'm just going to do a couple more with you. It says find each number using the decimal method, round to the nearest 100th if necessary. So anytime we need to, we'll round to the nearest 100th. What is, so I'm going to say B is means equal to 40% as a decimal is 4/10ths. Of means multiply 80. So 4/10ths times 80 equals 32. So B equals 32. 40% of 80 is 32. That seems reasonable. 40% is a little less than half, and half of 80 is 40. So 32 is a little less than 40. My answer seems reasonable and makes sense. Find 15% of 120. 15% as a decimal is 15/100ths. Of means multiply, so times 20. I'm going to pull out my calculator. 15% times 120, or 15/100ths times 20, is equal to 18. I know that 15% is a very small percentage, so 18 out of 120 seems like that's a reasonable answer. Let's do one more here together. 70% as a decimal is 7/10ths. Of means multiply 480 equals what number? Is means equals, we're not sure. So 7/10ths times 480, and when I do that I get 336 as my answer. At this point in time, I might, if you're ready for the challenge, I might challenge you to try these next couple on your own. There are a couple tricky ones, so maybe you want to stay with me for one or two more and then try the last one on your own. But at some point, I would recommend that you pause the video and try and finish at least one of these on your own and see how you do. So 7% of 25, remember that 7 is tricky. We've got to move the decimal 2 places. So when I write this percent as a decimal, I'm writing it as 7/100ths. Of means multiply, 25. So 7/100ths times 25 is 1 75/100ths. Seven percent is pretty small. Out of 25 is another smaller number, so 1 75/100 seems reasonable. 9% of 82. Remember, we've got to move that decimal 2 places to the left, so I get 0 9/100ths. Of means multiply times 82. 0 9/100ths times 82. And I get 7 38/100ths. Nine percent is about 10, and 82. 10% of 82, we can move the decimal 1 place to the left, and we would get 8, so it's about 8, and 7 is close to 8, so my answer seems reasonable. If you go back to our instructions, it said to round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Both of these are already to the nearest hundredth, so we don't have to do any rounding yet, or we haven't had to. Let's see about this last one. 12% of 59. 12% is a decimal, is 12/100ths. Of means multiply, 59 is means equals. So I've got 12/100ths times 59. And when I do that, I get 7 8/10ths. Or 8/100ths, I'm sorry. As my final answer. And again, that answer seems reasonable. 12% is about 10. 10% of 59 is about 6. 7's a little bit more. 12's a little bit more than 10. So my answer seems reasonable enough and makes enough sense that I can continue on.